Hi everybody, Lex Gray here. Welcome back to another video. In this entry, I want to talk about the Borg series. This is half of my collection. The Borg series is very OSR-esque and a simple rules-lite system. For solo players out there, I'd say this is an easy choice. In my last video, I talked about the Fate system. There was some very good opinions in the comments, and I suggest going through them and learning of everybody's preference. Now, Fate is a collaborative storytelling experience, as mentioned from a very good comment, and I agree. As much as I like and enjoy the Fate system, I cannot ignore the magnitude that the Borg series brings to the solo community. Mork Borg, as far as I can tell, started it all. Then there were these other editions. They are either connected through Stockholm or Free League. Now, like I said, this is half of my collection. We have the first Mork Borg, we have Pirate Borg, Cyborg, then recently I picked up Corp Borg, and then I also have Death in Space, which does not have the word Borg in it, then Black Powder and Brimstone. So again, these are all from, as far as I can gather, just want to mention that, Mork Borg. As they all say, they're compatible. Well, except for this one is incorrected there. This does have a similar system, though. It's just in space. It's sci-fi. Very deadly sci-fi. They are all compatible with Mork Borg. Compatible Free League is right there. Mork Borg is right here on the front of Cyborg. So again, Mork Borg hat. The beauty of the Borg series is that they have brought OSR and the D20 in a simplified form, which already, again, OSR is very approachable and can be learned in a matter of hours. But compared to the Fate system, like I mentioned, which heavy on free-form storytelling, narrative play, this one has your classic D20 roll with a DC, a DR difficulty rating in this case, and you roll at with the skill in mind to either succeed or fail. Now, with the 4 or so abilities, which we will get to in a second. Again, this is not a tutorial, this is not a how-to. We're going through these the Borg's reputation in the solo play community, and why I believe it is a great way to play solo RPGs. First and foremost, like in all of these books, there is just a plethora of tables. You practically don't need a separate table printout from itch.io or DriveThruRPG because most of these books have a great healthy assortment of tables to roll on with polyhedral dice in the theme of the book setting you're playing. Now, one thing that I believe may push a few or a certain percentage of the solo RPG community away is the graphics, the style. I'm not really bothered by this, and I've seen a lot of YouTubers who are not either, but I want to say it's safe to mention because a lot of these images can be graphic to some extent. The same goes with these. But let's focus on the OG, again, from what I can gather, Mork Borg. So as you can see, very stylistic, very deadly, near the brink of extinction. And you have on the start here, on the starting line, tables. So one slight criticism I will mention, it's not really a big problem, but may, again, distract from people who are interested, is the design and layout of the book. It can be a little confusing, but you definitely get a style and consistency. So as graphic jarring, obscure that this artwork may be, I'd say the text can really fall into the imagery itself. But again, it's very deadly game. It's also, I think, great for solo play. Now, this is where you start your character creation. It's a very fast system. Not here to teach you, just want to give you a little peek and preview. You start with some items. You have a great, very creative assortment of items you can start with. There is polyhedral dice. Again, you're not locked in to like the white box D&D where it's just D6. You actually have the D4 and up. And then you have all of these hilarious, great assortment of weapons. Armor is actually varied. It's based on a die roll. It's not fixed. Then you have the abilities, which again, these typically carry over into the other systems. The other systems do have some variations, but at its core, the system doesn't really change much. You have agility, presence, strength, and toughness. Agility takes care of defend, balance, swim, flee. Presence is perceive, aim, charm, wield powers. Strength is your crush, lift, strike, grapple. Toughness is resist poison, cold, heat, survive falling. Again, very reminiscent of your OSR theme. You roll 3d6 to choose these abilities. You have your modifiers. And I think at that point, you actually just keep the modifiers. You don't really keep the core rolls. To do a test, you roll your d20, you add the modifier based on the ability you're using, and if you exceed it, if you match or exceed, you're successful. So again, difficulty rating is the DR compared to DC and D&D. That is the number you're going for. So the 6 is so simple, 18 should be not possible. Now, also pointing out to a comment in my last video in Fate. To an extent, I agree, where a commenter mentioned that in solo play, games that don't have this difficulty ratings, where the skill is actually player facing, so typically think of a d20 roll under system, that is much easier for solo play. So that way your character's skill, much like think of GURPS, or a basic role-playing system, you're rolling at your own character sheet. Of course, there may be modifiers or penalties, advantage, disadvantage to consider, but at its core, you're rolling at a d20 number, like Karen, for example. Karen RPG is another great example, especially for rules-lite, which I mentioned in a couple of videos ago. It's a great way to keep solos play down to the bare bones, and it's player-facing, so you don't have to consider a difficulty rating. But for me personally, I'm okay with this. Difficulty rating makes this game approachable, not just for solo play, but also for group play. So again, very quick character creation process. And much like classic D&D, or heck, even modern D&D, you have a modifier. You add that modifier to a d20 roll, and you have a difficulty number to reach. So, like I said, there's your hit points. You have, in combat. Combat is actually a little different. I would say definitely player-facing in some matter. There is initiative. You have a d6 roll, which is, again, reminiscent of classic D&D. You have melee, range, and defense. You actually have to hit a number with the modifier, strength, presence, or agility, to be successful. So again, it is in some fashion player-facing role. A player-facing role in combat. Then you have rest, reaction, morale. Again, a lot of OSR. Then the rest introduces powers. So as you can see, the game is very graphic. The graphics, the theme, everything's very deadly. It's obviously at the tail end of society. The world is going to end. Keep that in mind when you play a Borg game. Probably one of my favorite artworks in the game itself. So again, I don't want to spoil everything in this game, but there is just a lot. There's also another graphic image. A lot of punk heavy metal. And then here is a great little summary of the game compressed in one page on how to play. So this is just a very quick little introduction into the Borg world, with this being Mork Borg. Now, the other games, the beauty of the Mork Borg series are the settings. So here is a cyberpunk kind of game, Cyborg. Again, you have all of these tables. You have similar style layout, just in the future, in the near future. We'll see how that goes for society, for our future. You have a little setting to go through here. This is actually has a quite more higher page count than, from what I can look at, Mork Borg. But still, there's a lot of tables, there's factions, and it still has a similar system. This is Cyborg. Then we have Pirate Borg. Now, some little history. I've talked about this before. Pirate Borg is actually the first one I picked up out of the entire Mork Borg series. I found this out in the wild, meaning I found it in a game store. I like to say that a lot. And the vendor I bought it from mentioned the Borg series to me, but they didn't have Mork Borg because this was selling out. This was a few years ago. This game was super popular, selling out everywhere locally. Wasn't much buying online at that point for RPGs. I was still trying to get my hands on things at local businesses, small businesses. But then eventually I caved and bought it online because I just could not find the Borg locally. Then I found these other ones. I found Cyborg. After that, I found Death in Space. Then I found very recently the Corp Borg, and then in the Black Powder and Brimstone. This one seems to have some controversy, or doesn't seem to be well met by players. I don't really know. I haven't really had a chance to go through this. It's just in my collection because I, again, want to collect these things. At the time, I actually was able to find the character sheet for Black Powder and Brimstone. I do recommend watching the video of from Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards. He does a great little review through this. He shares a solid opinion, and he seems to love and enjoy the game. So I recommend watching that, as I have not had a chance to play Black Powder and Brimstone. But the character sheet, I do enjoy. It keeps the thing going, and I'd say, again, watch that video, or at least watch some Let's Plays of it, and to see if it's for you. Now, back to these different themes. We have, again, kind of in the world fantasy, dark fantasy, we have cyberpunk, we have Pirate Borg, Pirate with Powers, we have Corp Borg. I have not had a chance to go through this thoroughly to give you a solid opinion, but I'm based on the picture here. It's obviously going to be in a corporate environment, but very deadly. So probably consider think of this with corporate office space mixed with Mork Borg. I'm just going off of a whim there. Like the other games, Pirate Borg has just a healthy amount of tables. I think Pirate Borg seems to have a great blend of fantasy and, well, out in the sea, pirate combat, ship combat, as I've seen in other reviews. Have not had a chance to go through it, play through it thoroughly, but I've definitely had a chance to read through it, and it's great to see it has its own mass combat system with ships, with vessels. Now, again, this is Corp Borg. It has, there's your mention of Mork Borg there. It has tables. I love that these are all consistent with tables in the beginning. Again, which is why this will be appealing for solo play. Then we have Death in Space. Now, Death in Space was a contender for what I want to make my next campaign on, short campaign at best, which is the Sector Void series. I've been trying to get to that very soon. But Mothership took the gold on that one. Death in Space was I was considering it. It was a honorable mention, as it is very deadly, and it's in that solo RPG experience. It's perfect for it, but I got drawn to Mothership, and more so the system of Mothership is very unique, and I enjoy the fact that it has the the OSR feeling. So this is pretty much my Borg collection. I have other various like settings and smaller games, but I feel these 6 here really shape my collection and opinion about the Borg series. So again, the Borg series is a very good contender for solo play. You have a d20 to roll. You use polyhedral dice. You have all of these settings you can try solo play with. This covers most, popular settings out there. And you can hack it. Again, I always encourage players, solo players out there, to hack the system. But I've been guilty of this. I've hacked it too fast. Always try the system first in its full capacity. Rulings over rules, keep that in mind. That's a very OSR thing to consider. It's a general thing to go by for OSR games. But when you have the system down, again, these should not take you too long to learn. Roll it, you reach the DR, you're good or you fail. Then hack it. Include some rules, put some house rules in there, take some rules away, change the setting a bit, maybe use a system for one for another, interchange them. Again, have all the fun you can. just I'd say don't go too crazy and overwhelm yourself with several systems in one or several books in one. You can try. I can't say I've done that myself, but I can see why that might be an issue. So let me know in the notes that in the comments down below if you have tried at least Mork Borg or the others on here that you've seen and what your thoughts are. Do you like the simplistic system where it's for the usual four abilities? With the modifier, it ignores the core role and the settings, the imagery. Like a lot of this can be very distracting, but on the shelf, this could be a great buy. So again, do you judge a book by its cover? That's going to be up to you. For me, like I said, this none of these were in my top 5 choices a few videos ago, but it's definitely in my favorite top 10, especially actually Pirate Borg. I'd say it's probably my favorite out of all of this. It's usually between these two, Mork Borg and Pirate Borg. Pirate Borg, again. And to my neglect, I have not played these games enough. I played Mork Borg. I've done a one-shot Mork Borg before on my channel long ago, but unfortunately, I've not really had much playthrough with these games. So I'm sure that's a quite common occurrence for a lot of collectors out there, people who have been playing RPGs their entire life. They have so many games, it's just on their shelf. They just haven't had time or the energy to play every single one. But again, please comment below. I really appreciate the discussions that have been happening in the recent videos. It's been very intriguing, and I absolutely love all of your opinions, whether I agree or not. I really appreciate all the feedback, and I will do my best to get to all the comments, but I do encourage others to participate in this conversation. So even if I'm not there in the conversation, in that comment, at least viewers can take part in the story, as I like to say. So that's really going to be it for the Borg, this Borg video. Nothing much more to talk about. I'm sure I missed quite a bit, but please comment down below what you think. And feel free to mention your favorite moment if you've played Mork Borg before or any of the Borg games. As always, I appreciate your time. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe and comment for more. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.